Good morning and welcome back to Planetcraft. I'm Natalie, and if you've been following along you'll have seen that I've had a few days off, so bear with me today. I'm feeling a bit fragile still. So we're doing a 5-item challenge and Ian's picked 5 items for me to play with. So first of all, I have a Graphic 45 and Sizzix stamp and die set that we're going to play with. He's picked out a piece of Project Life paper from the Midnight collection, a Jane Davenport pen in brown, a grey ink pad, so this is the VersaFine Smoky Grey, and a chocolate distress crayon. So I just wait to see how many more people join.
They have Tracy, Linda and Deb this morning so far. They've said hello.
Hi Tracy, Linda and Deb.
You have more than that watching.
Yep, don't be afraid to say hi or ask questions along the way. So my paper is double-sided, so I'm going to be using some of the grey side of the paper too to tie in with our grey ink pad. And I make out a sentiment from the other side.
Linda and Deb both say hope you're feeling better.
So for starters, I'm going to trim a little bit off my adaptable. So this is a 8-inch adaptable from Lime Tree. And I just want to have a little panel that I can stamp my Timeless onto for the background.
Good morning to Beatrice and Carol.
Morning Beatrice, morning Carol. So I'm doing this by eye. And then pass me the hoogie board here. I'm just going to score my card in half so I can see where I'm going.
There you go.
Thank you. And I'm going to go for the inches side. It just makes it a bit easier when we're trying to do where we're aiming for. So I'm going to go for about there. And I can always trim it up if I need to anyway.
Your mum's in too.
Hi Mum.
And another Carol.
One of the many carols. Our choir of carols. Okay, so I'm going to fold this over. Okay, got a leading edge, so that's a good start. So I'm going to score that one back and just finish it. So with my panel, I'm going to go trim that from that end, I think. So usually I'd be doing this the other way around, stamping first and then trimming, but in this case, because it's a word, I want to make sure that it's going to be legible at least some point on our strip.
And morning Marion. She says hope you're feeling
Still a bit fragile, but going to take tomorrow off streaming, aren't I? So we're going to have a premiere instead. Is that right, Ian?
Yeah, premiere tomorrow from Tracy. And then you might get me in the afternoon as well.
Yeah. So, our stamps. I'm going to go for my Timeless that's in this collection. And my stamp platform.
Your stamp platform?
Yep, always helps.
Hang on then. 5 is
No. Okay. So make sure that you can see and read rubber on the top of your platform, as we're working with a cling mounted stamp. And I'm just going to make sure that I haven't got my foam in place. So if you've seen me use unmounted stamps before, what I usually do is just pop a bit of foam underneath my mat. And I'm using an old scan and cut cutting mat in my platform so that I can do detailed stamping when I need to. So let's go and pop that there. And I'm going to start off with putting it, let's pop it there. So I'm going to have our sentiment read mostly over to this right hand side. Okay, I'm going to use my VersaFine. There we go. So this time I'm going to move it that way. Yep. A bit more on that bottom section. Didn't quite ink it obviously. There we go. That's what I love about stamp platform. Makes it easy to do repetitive things. So I'm going to go let's go that way, and I'm going to take it so it's just off that edge. Try and keep your card straight. Everything alright? And let's go right up against this edge here. Yep, just there. Slowly build up this little grid pattern.
Sandra, good morning. It's lovely to see you.
Morning, Sandra. Right, okay, when you get to the point where you can't add any more easily, I'm going to take the stamp off the mount, and then we can start to actually work into it a little bit more. So I want to go sort of there, would be good. So let's get that level. Ink it up.
What maker stamping platform are you using?
So I'm using the Tim Holtz Tonic stamping platform, but any stamping platform will do. And let's go for one of these nice detailed hands, I think. I'm just going to use that to fill in. So again, try and keep it on that same grid if possible. I'm going to turn it round. I'm going to go that way. So. And another one just down here. Whoa, don't drop the ink pad. Smaller trousers. There we go. So now I'm just going to do a little bit of ink blending around my edge. I'm just going to grab a little blending brush. So this is one that I keep for die pads rather than oxides. Do you want to just say a little bit about the courses this weekend? Well, course isn't this weekend. Just the one this weekend.
It's the one this weekend, isn't it? 'Cause we've
Yep.
got Affinity this weekend, isn't it?
Yes.
So Saturday we have our Introduction to Affinity Designer course. So all of you that have booked on, make sure you've accepted your invitations into the group. I think most of you have, from what I can see. And it will go live to the group on Saturday morning. So when it does go live, it'll go to that group that I've put you all into. That's the only place you'll be able to find it. So I'll be starting at 10 o'clock. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll do a 10 till 12. We'll have an hour's break for some lunch and refreshments. And then we'll go back in the afternoon and have another go.
Okay. Just going to pop those in there for a minute.
Following weekend we've also got our Coral Draw and
Scale.
Scale workshop as well. So that's the following weekend. So that's so if anybody wants to go to those, they're still available on Buy Me a Coffee. If you go to the extra page, then you'll find them there. What are you pinching?
A little bit of stamping card to stamp me clock. Is that loud?
I don't know.
Okay.
Cheating just a little bit.
Well, I could stamp it onto the stripy one, but it's going to make it a bit difficult for colouring.
You got nothing to colour with.
That's not true. I got my distress crayon and my chocolate pen. So let's go for we have a little pendulum, and then we stamp our hands separately. So so I'm going to go for the nice ornate hands, I think, for this one, so that we tie that into our stamped piece. And I'm just going to move that magnet just because that card's not wanting to lie down properly. Okay.
Move it a bit. And that's right. Don't worry if you can't make it. If you can't make it to the live, the videos will still be up in the group, so they'll stay up there.
Yeah.
For as long as Facebook will let us. So they will still all be there. So even if you can't catch it live, then it will be there.
And as usual, if you have any questions after, you can always drop us a message. Okay. But no, the stamp platform gets quite a bit of a boost, doesn't it? So it's covered in sticky dots from using the unmounted stamps and things like that. Just going to add a bit more ink onto that clock so we can pick a bit more of that detail up. As when we start to colour, it's going to be quite easy to lose the line.
My fault for making it pale.
No, it's fine. Nothing wrong with grey as an ink pad. Okay. So we have our stamped images, and then I'm going to colour them next. And then we can die cut them after. So again, I'm just going to pop my stamps back into there, and then I can give them a good wipe with the bamboo sheet. So this is just a dye ink pad, so it's nice and easy to clean. Just a little bit of water if need be, if it's being particularly stubborn, but for the most part, just wipe it away. There's always one, isn't there? Go on, back in there. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to move my stamp platform out of the way so it's a bit easier to colour. I'm going to bring in a messy mat.
That's okay, Beatrice.
Just going to add some of the distress crayon straight to our image for the darkest places, and then we can always pick some up off our messy mat in a minute for the lighter areas. The other advantage of using the dies is that we don't have to worry if we go outside the lines on this one. There you go. Is that better? Okay. And for the hands we can go a little bit more heavy-handed. Okay. Just going to pop a little bit on my messy mat. I'm going to grab a water brush. and we can start to move that colour around. If you need to bring in a bit more, you can just pick some up off our messy mat. And we're just pulling it out with just plain water in the brush. So I'm just going to draw that colour up the dial so it keeps a nice gradient. Just going to add a little bit more around this edge here. So this is only stamping card, so you don't want to get it too wet. And what I love about this crayon is the tone changes that you get as you work with the pigment. So some areas would be slightly more yellowy brown, others are just going to have a reddy tone to it. All in one crayon. So I'm just going to brush over so we can create a little bit of shading. Like so. Don't worry about your face of your clock just yet. Just work around the outside.
Beautiful steps.
They are, aren't they? I think we've used them in a couple of projects on stream now. If you go back through the videos.
Joan says hi now.
Hello! So I'm just going to pick up a little bit more colour so we can start to bring out the 3D form in our little cherubs. A little bit under the chin. And a little bit just in this little section down here so that it will match this side. There we go. Now I'm going to mix a bit of a wash on my messy mat. And then we can go in and just do around the inside of the face of the clock.
And Marie's joined us as well. Say
Morning! And a little bit more just in here for these bits too. So it doesn't look like we forgot to colour a bit. So I'm going to let that dry for a moment. Okay, so next I'm going to move on to my pattern paper while that's drying. So we have two sides to our pattern paper, so I want to use some of this stripe detail to create a border for our piece. So I'm going to trim that up first. Then I'm going to pick a sentiment that we're going to actually use on my card and cut that up. So I don't want too wide a strip, so I'm going to go for about 3 of the grey stripes. Like so. And then I'm just going to grab my erasable pen. Give myself a little mark to aim for. And I'm going to use the same technique that we've used on our pattern piece, just to distress these edges. So if you wanted something that looked a little smoother, you could use your messy mat and do your ink blending. But I want something that looks a little bit more distressed. So it ties in then. So let's look at our sentiments. What do you think, Ian? Which one should I go for?
Well, I'm right now.
Okay.
Or you had the in the moment, which I thought was quite close up here.
It just goes off the page though. So I'm going to go, yeah, I think I'm going to go for, yeah, probably. I'm going to go for with that right now there. So, let's get my scissors. Let's go in from this edge. I might even take the right here and just see if we can make that work.
Right here, right now.
Yeah. Aiming to keep that little full stop. That'd be a bit cruel, wouldn't it?
It would.
Not the best scissors for doing this bit with actually. Let's swap. Just because these are slightly better at handling detail. So.
I ordered the stamps and dies last week. It's just waiting for them to arrive.
See, look, you're obviously sending in vibes there.
When did I pick them out?
That was
Monday?
Monday, yeah. Monday we were originally going to go and I just wasn't well enough, was I? So we tried, didn't we? We went far off, but it's just like, computer said no, wasn't it? And then I was just like, oh, do you know what? Can't be doing with it today. That was it, wasn't it?
The computer was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
And we just went,
It was a sign of how poorly I was feeling though, wasn't it? When you should be, most of the time I'll fight with the computer, but that day was just like, no. So I'm just going to cut these down the middle, actually, so that we can kind of overlap them a bit. So if you're at home doing this, you can take lots of time and do all your fussy cutting, or see if you can get your scan and cut to cut them out. We haven't got both cameras set up today, have we? So
you didn't need it.
it's nice on occasion though to just be able to go, I can't be bothered. Get the scan and cut to do it. Okay. So I have my top of my card, and I might go right here right now, down towards the bottom, and then I think my clock itself is going to end up over here. And now we need our dies. Yeah, 2 ways, Natty. You're going to get it the wrong way around today. But no, you're going to be in charge of the group tomorrow, aren't you? And while
In charge of the group most of the week, haven't they? So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if anybody thinks they've been talking to Natalie, they most likely haven't been talking to me.
Yeah, although it comes up with me, it's just a case of we can't afford to keep changing the computer, telling it any different, can you? So. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to pop that down there for a moment. So this is going to be one for your masking tape. I'm going to work onto my cutting mat so I can just pop my other plates over the top. Let's go that way. That's probably our food turned up early. Can I have a bit of purple tape, please, Ian?
Purple.
Yeah. I was going to do it with low tack, but I'm just thinking there's going to be quite a few dies that I'm putting on, so I don't want to risk them moving. I'm still feeling a little bit worse for wear, but I'll get there. Okay. So with your Sizzix dies, you're going to see that the cutting line is right on this edge, so it makes it a lot easier to place your dies. Takes the guesswork out of it. there'll be moments. But yeah, you do have a stronger system than I do. Oh, do you want to just mention competition here? Because we haven't had many entries, have we?
We haven't yet, no. So there's a competition running on the group to make a
Cover.
cover, isn't it? It's a project cover for when we
Start the technique manual.
start the technique manual. There's a blog piece that it relates to, which gives you all the instructions on how to make it and shows the example of what Natalie's done. We've had a couple of entries so far, haven't we? But we
Yeah.
haven't had many. So if you'd like to enter that, and our usual prizes apply.
Okay.
Deal.
Yeah, I was just waiting for you to finish your sentence. Oh, Sarah Lou didn't know there was a new competition.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, so as Ian said, there's a piece on the blog that shows you how to set it up and the sizes that we're thinking. Okay. I'm just going to gently release this off the cutting plate. One die seems to be... There we go. Get that eventually.
Get into your plate, did it?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to carefully peel that off. So there's our little hands. And at this point, if you think that you need to add a bit more detail, don't do it just yet, because we've still got our other chocolate pen to use.
No, you don't have to copy what Natalie's done. You can do your own style on it and your own take. The only reference really that is there from Natalie is the sizing, really, isn't it?
The sizing, and if you want to try and do the layering technique, because I basically created my own decorative edge shape on the machine, so there's no computer required. So even a beginner can do it.
You get to the blog. So the blog is plannercraft.uk, or I think the link is in with the competition, is it?
The link was on a post on the group and on the page,
If I put a link
but
to the
it
group-
might need refreshing.
If I put one up just to the page,
Yeah.
it should be quite clear on there, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
So if you're looking for the blog,
It's at the bottom of the screen.
there's a link to it. So that will pop up there.
So I'm nearly there. Last one.
Zero research level.
Okay. Just thinking I could do my little spiral binding diamond on my desk, couldn't I? Stick your dies too. It's okay, I'll stick them back in here. So we don't lose them, because they are reasonably tiny. I got to grab that one. Can go in there for now. There we go.
Put your stamp back in, then it we're done.
Yeah. There's me going to be good and give them another clean.
Yeah. Well, I put them in there. Just keep on there.
Stamp on the plastic, yeah. Okay.
Do we have to use the scan and cut? Can it be mixed media? Anything you like. You don't have to use the scan and cut. It's your project cover, so at the end of the day, it's what you're going to use to make up your technique manual with.
Okay, so I'm going to use some sticks to 3D PVA, and I'm just going to do a little dot on our little pendulum. Now if you wanted to, you could use a little brad at this point and actually have it swinging if you feel that way inclined, but to be honest, I'm just going to check positioning. So let's go there. I'll grab the actual piece in a minute, but just looking for spacing. And so I've got a good section, so I can let that just hang off the bottom, like so. I'm just going to put it so it's mid-moment, so it doesn't have to just hang straight down if you don't want to. You can make it look like time has paused. Okay. Now I'm going to go for my hour hand next. Let's make it 10 to 2. Make it a happy clock. Okay. So there we go. It's almost at 2. And there we go. There we go. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue on our top panel. And a bit more on our little border. There you go. I didn't actually chop off the eye in the moment. The designers did that. Okay. So if you wanted to at this point, you could always stick this assembly onto a contrasting piece of card and get your scan and cut to cut out a border around it. But I think it would look just as good if we 3D it up slightly. So I'm going to grab some 3D. This is some physics one, but any 3D foam tape will do. Let's get this tape off here. So I'm going to pop a little bit on the pendulum. Like so. And I'm going to pop couple more pieces onto our clock, and my non-stick scissors need a clean. Okay. Nearly there. Let's get my pokey tool so I can get the backing off the 3D foam tape. Okay. And I'm going to go for there. And with our right here right now, you could use the same ink blending if you wanted to, so that we're toning in our greys, or you can just leave it as is. So just for speed today, I'm just going to leave it as is. There haven't been any according to Facebook, so I'm just going to line up my right now, just underneath. It's going to pop a little bit under that eye just because it's curling up a little. And same with this H. There we go. And finally, brown pen to add any extra contrast when we need to. So I'm just going to pop a little tiny bit around here to make our minute hand stand out a little bit more. And we can actually blend that around there so it doesn't get too dark. There we go. And just going to pop a little bit more just in that little join just there. So it really doesn't need a lot. Tiniest dot. I'm just going to add a bit more in there too. A little dot there. And one just there. Okay, nearly done. Just tiny, I'm going to put a little bit more down there and a little bit at the bottom here. There we go. Touch there, touch there, more in there. And that is us nearly done. Naughty pen. Blobbing.
What's it done?
Just trying to blob off the end of it. So. There we go. Let's put a bit just in there, just to make that bit stand out. So this one's a bit more like 50 Shades of Brown, but nothing wrong with that. So,
Yeah, that's what makes it a challenge.
yep.
That sounds just gorgeous.
There we go. Ta-da! Just put the cap back on my pen and then I can show you. There we go. Oh, over a bit. Not got Streamlabs up at the moment, so I can't see where I'm going. So back there.
That'll do. Maybe up a little bit. Maybe I know you can see it.
Key. So, any questions before we go today? Even if they're not necessarily related to the project? Ian's going to be around on the group for the rest of the day. I'm hoping to get a bit more done on the book. If I feel up to it, because that was what I was supposed to do yesterday, and yeah, I didn't get a lot done yesterday. Was not well. Thank you, Shane. And Linda, you're welcome as always. And we look forward to seeing your competition entries. So, we'll see you tomorrow, one way or another.
Yeah.
So don't forget, Tracy's video's premiering in the morning, and Ian's going to be back either later this afternoon or tomorrow afternoon with a bit of a demonstration on the differences between Affinity Designer and Affinity Photo for those of you that are interested. So Affinity Photo is more like Photoshop, Design's more like Illustrator, so you can have a look at those and see how much fun they are to play with. And thank you, Mum, and you're welcome, Sally. So take care for now, and bye.